little bit. We're going to go back to the laws of Hanukkah. Before that, really what we have is a transition from the written law to the oral law. We spoke about that. The written Torah, the Tanakh, primary heroes are the prophets. And prophecy ceased at the beginning of the Second Temple era. And now in the Greek era, pretty much we have other leadership. It's not the prophets anymore, but it's the scholars, the scribes. But it's a good time to make sure that we know our Tanakh. And this is a nice song that I'd like to teach. As you can see, how do we get to 24? Well, the 12 smaller prophets, Trei Asar, usually we use them, the Aramaic title. Trei Asar means 12. By number 13, you can write down the word Trei Asar. It's the 12. 12 minor prophets, they're called. Small prophets. Very small. 3 chapters. 1 chapter. What did we read this Shabbat in the Haftarah? Vadya. It's 1 chapter, the whole thing. You finished the book of the Tanakh this week. It's 1 chapter, the whole book. Talked about Esav. It always comes from yes, actually even smaller. Haftarah is from 6 ad 13, 6 to 13. Only from the prophets. Okay, prophets 6 to 13. Yeah. No ktuvim in the Haftarah. Haftarah is only from the prophets. Yes.
That didn't me right. This is a small prophet.
Yeah. Well, you should call them the 12. Trei Asar. Trei Asar.
Trei Asar literally means 12. Okay?
Literally, that's what it means. Trei Asar. Trei means 2 in Aramaic. Asar, of course, is 10. Eser. Trei Asar. Trei Asar is the 12. The 12 books. And the prophets, yes. So the Yoshua, Shoftim, Shmuel, Melachim are considered to be
the small prophets, the Rabbi, or the Kadui, the small.
The Nevi'im is from number 6, 7, 8, 9. They're called Nevi'im Rishonim, the first prophets. 6, 7, 8, and 9. Yoshua, Shoftim, Shmuel, Melachim, called first prophets. And then number 10, 11, 12, and 13 are called Nevi'im Achronim, the later prophets. Part of it, number 13, is the 12.
Yes.
But you also have Yeshaya, Yirmiyahu, and Yechezkel.
Who's called as Achar?
Trei Asar is the 12. Nevi'im Acharonim is 10, 11, 12, 13.
10, 11. Oh, yes.
10, 11, 12, 13.
Makes sense.
What is it again?
The later prophets are 10, 11, 12, 13.
And why is
Earlier prophets, 6, 7, 8, 9.
10, 11, 12, what do you call it again?
Later prophets. Nevi'im Acharonim. Acharonim. You have the word. You have it spelled out here. But this is not prophets. This is just that's a name for commentators which come later. But it's the same word. Achar means later. It means later. It's the later ones. The later prophets in this case. Yeah.
So 10 to 13.
10 to 13 are the later prophets. Yeah. And that's where we get the from 6 through 13 we have Haftarah. Haftarah can be taken from any one of those. Ovadia. Do you see Ovadia? It's where is it?
In the 13.
Right. Is it in the
Hayami is the last.
Devarim is there's different ways to order them. But yeah, the traditional order, it comes at the end, even though, of course, it refers to primarily the period of the kings. It goes back to number 9. It goes through 1 through 9. The Divrei Yamim it's called Chronicles. It tells the story, lists names of history from the 1 through number 9. And a little bit after. Towards the end.
The Devarim Hayami, when it written, Yirmiyahu.
Well, the end is after Yirmiyahu, so it's hard to say. But yeah, approximately the end of the first temple period, that's when Yirmiyahu lived. So, correct, yes.
But on what is it based that they call this the later prophets? Since you can say that some of the prophets on the 12 Fasar lived during the time of the Menachem.
Yeah, you're right. Most of them did. Most of them did, right? Most of the later prophets lived during the same time. Why do we call them earlier and later, or former and latter prophets? It's a good question. I think because the first 4, the earlier prophets, have more of a story to them. They tell the narrative of the Jewish history, of the different kings, what happened, and the others are more poetic prophecies.
Because they're totally not related with, like, from Menachem to Shmuel, you can find a story. But
that's right, there's a storyline straight from Yoshua to Shofti, from the Chumash, really. Through Yoshua, through Shofti, through Shmuel, through Melachim, you have the chronology, or sort of, it's more narrative as opposed to the others, which are more poetry and prophecy of, Musar and words of encouragement and rebuke, for sure. Yeah, lots of rebuke. Yeah.
What's the reason of this the Ketuvim? Is Ketuvim originated?
So the Ketuvim have 3 sections.
What is
Let me show you the 3 sections in the Ketuvim. 14, 15, and 16 are known as the books of Emet. Why? Iyov starts with an Aleph. Mishlei starts with a Mem. And Tehillim with a Taf. They're called Sifrei Emet. 16, 17, and 18 are Sifrei Emet.
Sifrei, not Sefer. Sifrei.
The books of. Sifrei is plural, yeah.
Wow. You can also say Sefarim, can?
Yes, but when we have it in conjunction with 2 nouns, Sfarim turns into Sifrei. There's 2 ways to make the plural. You're right, there's simple ways. Sifrei Emet are 14, 15, and 16. I know,
16.
yeah, Tehillim, Mishlei, Yov. They actually spell out the word Emet, if you go from back to front. Yov, Mishlei, Tehillim, Emet. Do you see that?
Yes.
Rashi Tevot. They are very special. They have a different system of notation. Do you know that there's musical notes and punctuation marks in all of the Tanakh? In these 3 books, it's different. It's a different system. Sifrei Emet, books of truth. Right. The truth is, there's also a commonality that at least Iyov and Mishlei, they're known as wisdom literature. Right? I mean, Proverbs and Job, philosophy, ethics, many discussions. So they're called wisdom. And many of the Tehillim also. Many of the Tehillim, they're not all supplications and praises. Many of them, there's quite a few passages in Tehillim, chapters in Tehillim, which give you wisdom about how to live life and how to approach God, and all sorts of good guidance for life. So you could call you could call it wisdom literature if you like. It's not so precise with Tehillim, but you see Tehillim is 150 chapters. I'd say maybe 20 of them are wisdom literature. The rest are, as I said, there's praises and prayers. There's some history in there, but there's quite a few of wisdom literature as well. Okay, next, the 5 Megillot. The next section is 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. They're known as the 5 scrolls. Scrolls, Megillot. Shir HaShirim, Ruth Eicha, Kohelet, Esther. When do we read Megillat Esther? Why are they called the 5 scrolls? Well,
Purim.
that's right, Purim, exactly. Each one of them is read on a different holiday. Esther is read on Purim. What about the others? Who knows? Who can tell me? When are the other of the 5 Megillot read?
Also Kohelet.
In public.
Kohelet.
When? When is Kohelet read?
Shabbat.
Nope.
No, Yom Kippur.
Nope.
Rosh Hashanah.
Nope.
Tammuz.
Let's think. Let's try to think.
Sukkot.
How do you know? How do you know? How are you thinking? Why are you just guessing, or what do you think?
No, I think because
Let's think about the theme of each one. What's the theme of Esther? Obviously, it's the story of Purim. That's easy.
Oh, no, I mean, Eicha is written.
Why? What is Eicha about? What is
This is
Eicha?
Lamentations.
Lamentations. That's Tisha B'Av. Very good. Very good.
Well,
Now-
this is the other one from Shlomo HaMelech.
Right, and what is it? So
It's about vanity and everything is
right.
idle.
For some reason, we read it on Sukkot. You were correct. It is on Sukkot, but why? Some people say because maybe we're too happy. Sukkot is the festival of happiness because we've gathered all of our crops and we're happy. Our granaries are full, and we're celebrating. Maybe we should tone it down with some philosophy and vanity. Recognize that things are temporary. Anyways, good. So we have Esther, Kohelet, Eicha. What about Ruth? When do we read about Ruth?
When it's Shavuot.
Why?
Because Ruth,
Why?
what is the reason again?
What is Ruth about?
Ruth is about conversion, accepting Torah.
Conversion, accepting Torah. And what do we do on Shavuot?
We accept the Torah.
We accept the Torah. The entire Jewish people converted, really. We're all converts.
And
We all had to
Daniel,
go to the mikvah before Sinai. And we all had to have Brit Milah before Sinai. And there was a korban as well. In the time, a convert had to bring a sacrifice to the temple. So you saved a few bucks by converting nowadays. You don't have to buy a sheep.
Yeah.
It's more convenient.
Okay, so we're all converts, and Ruth, we read Ruth on Shavuot. Good. What's left?
Daniel.
No. The 5 Megillot, young man. Shir HaShirim, 17 through 21. 17 is Shir HaShirim. When do we read Shir HaShirim? What does Shir HaShirim talk about? The Song of Songs.
About love.
About love.
To be happy. Erotic.
Yeah, but when? When is that appropriate? What's the most romantic holiday for the Jewish people as a nation?
For Sephardim, they read it every Shabbos.
That's how people read it every Shabbat. That's true. Beautiful.
Which day?
Which holiday? Which holiday? Which holiday?
Passover?
What's that?
Passover.
Very good. Yeah, you're by the process of elimination. We have Sukkot and we have Shavuot, so the only one left is Pesach. Pesach, the Jewish people were created. God took us out of Egypt. He showed us a great love. So we sing the love song on Pesach. So those are the 5 Megillot. And then what's left? Daniel, Ezra, Nehemiah, and Chronicles. Divrei Yamim. Daniel is... full of esoteric prophecies about the period of the exile. Ezra and Nehemiah tell the story of the Second Temple, coming back to the Second Temple, construction of the Second Temple. And Divrei Yamim is sort of a complete review of history, right? Many lists of Jewish leaders from Bereshit all the way till the end of the first temple, beginning of the second temple even. So these are the last of the writings, Daniel, Ezra, Nehemiah. Now you notice, number 23,
Ezra and Nehemiah.
and Nehemiah. Most people would count them as separate books. The book of Ezra, the book of Nehemiah. The Jewish tradition, we have Chaf Daled Sfarim, 24 books. That's why we have the count this way. We do the Jewish count. All number 13, all 12 of the minor prophets, they're so small, they get included in one. And Ezra and Nehemiah, they're really two, they're connected as one. Also, take a look at number 8 and number 9. What's unique?
8.
Number 8 and number 9?
Shmuel and Menachem.
Is it one book? 2 books?
One author. No, I don't know.
Don't you? We all know that there's Shmuel Aleph and Shmuel Bet. There's 1 Samuel and 2 Samuel. There's 1 Kings and 2 Kings. So most people would count it as 2 separate books. They're 2 separate books. Traditional count, it's 1 book.
The Chumash come out a book.
All 1, right. We count it as 5 books of Moses, right. Now the reason in number 4 you have a repetition is because of the song. I'm good. We repeat the. That's the only time the words repeat.
Why is it the 24?
24. Why 24? Where do we get that number?
Because the 24 audiot.
There's 22. There's 22 audiot.
The shine.
Shin and sin. Okay. No, there's more. There's more because there's pei and fei, and chaf and kaf, and yeah. I don't know why 24. It's a good question. I don't know. That's the traditional count.
12 is...
Double 12. Of course, 12. The 12 tribes of Israel. This is more importantly is that the Shmuel is 1 book, Melachim is 1 book, Ezra and Nehemiah is 1 book. That's the. And then we get to the number, and all 12 are considered to be 1. And so then we get to it turns out to be 24. I don't know if there's anything specific about 24, but it is a nice number, 12 times 2. Okay, do you know these off by heart? Do you know them off by heart?
Maybe.
You will.
Try.
Let's go. I'm going to teach you a song. Are you ready?
Okay, go check.
First thing, I'll teach you the tune. Again. You got that? Again. La 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 la. Okay, now got that? Simple. All right. Now the high part. La 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 la. La da 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 da. Okay, I'll have to find it online where this tune is. Trying to think what the original is, and then we'll find it.
One question.
Yeah.
Why it stands with number 4 Bamidbar, Vayikra Bamidbar?
You'll see now because that's the way it works in the song. That's all. I just doubled it because we say it twice in the song.
Oh.
Okay? It goes as follows. Bereshit Shemot Vayikra Bamidbar, Vayikra Bamidbar, Devarim Yehoshua, Shoftim Shemuel Melachim, Yeshayahu Yirmiyahu Yechezkel, Hosea Yoel Amos, Obadiah Yonah Micha, Nahum Chavakuk Tzvanya Chagai Zechariah Malachi, Tehillim Mishlei Iyov, Shir Hashirim Rut Eicha Kohelet, Esther Daniel Ezra Nehemiah Divrei Hayamim. Got it. What's the original words? Oh, sorry? People sing it on Shabbat sometimes. I think.
It's Kabbalah Shabbat.
So you know the tune. Good. See, now I know all 24 books of the Tanakh off by heart. It's the Tanakh song. Are you ready? Bereshit Shemot Vayikra Bamidbar Vayikra Bamidbar Devarim Yehoshua Shoftim Shemuel Melachim Yeshayahu Yirmiyahu Yechezkel Hosea Yoel Amos Obadiah Yonah Micha Nahum Chavakuk Tzvania Chagai Zechariah Malachi Tehillim Mishlei Iyov Shir Hashirim Rut Eicha Kohelet Esther Daniel Ezra Nehemiah Divrei Hayamim. La 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 la. Hosea Yoel Amos, Obadiah Yonah Micha, Nahum Chavakuk Tzvanya Chagai Zechariah Malachi, Tehillim Mishlei Iyov Shir Hashirim Rut Eicha Kohelet Esther Daniel Ezra Nehemiah Divrei Hayamim. Now, who are the last prophets? The last, chronologically, who comes in the Second Temple period? At the very, very end. The last of the prophets. Good. Chagai, Zechariah, and Malachi. The end of the small prophets, they're towards
Malachi is the last.
latest prophet in the, yeah, exactly.
No, is Hakol, Tanakh.
The latest in all of Tanakh, yeah.
No of Tanakh.
Yeah. Prophet, yeah. It's the last one.
Which book is the last?
Malachi.
Malachi, okay.
Malachi. And Zechariah. We're going to read on Hanukkah. Why do we read a prophecy from Zechariah on Hanukkah? He talks about the people coming back from the exile to Jerusalem. Zerubbabel was the leader, remember that? We mentioned him the other day. And he has a prophecy. He sees a prophecy of a golden menorah. Zechariah has a very special prophecy. And there's two big sort of reservoirs of oil that are feeding into the seven branched candelabra. And the two reservoirs of oil, the two jugs of oil, are Yoshua, the Kohen Gadol, and Zerubbabel, the political leader. And he talks about this time that the Jewish people are going to come back from Babel and build the second temple. And of course, the menorah is the theme of Hanukkah miracle, right? The miracle that they relit. Of course, this is 160 years later, right? This is in the period of the Greek defilement of the temple, and then the Hasmoneans purifying the temple. So Hanukkah happened a number of times. What do we read from the Torah? Now I explain to you what we read, the Haftorah. What's the Haftorah? We said from Zechariah. They're called the candles of Zechariah. Neot de Zechariah. He speaks about lighting the candles of the menorah, the golden menorah of the temple. It's a beautiful prophecy. It's appropriate for Hanukkah. What do we read every day? We said we read from the Torah 8 days in a row. Who remembers? What do we read on Hanukkah?
In Hanukkah?
Yeah, in Hanukkah. All 8 days. Special Torah reading. There was no Hanukkah in the Torah. Was there?
No.
Not the Hanukkah that we celebrate. The Greeks?
No, but
It's past that period. It's not in the whole Tanakh. The story of Hanukkah is not in the Tanakh. The story of Esther is. Right? Esther is earlier. The Persian period. The Persian period is before the Greek period. By the Greek period, there's already no more prophecy. So there's no book about Hanukkah in the Torah. What do we read 8 days in a row? It's a good question, right? On Rosh Chodesh, we read about Rosh Chodesh. On Shabbat, we have the Parshat of Shavuot. All the holidays, we read each holiday what's appropriate. But there's nothing to read about Hanukkah. What is there?
No, I think something different. I think freestyle. I think the
We learned it. You should know it because we learned it. You have to review. No, that's the prophets. That's the Haftarah. But where's the Torah reading? It's got to come from the 5 books of Moses. From the Sefer Torah. It's only the 5 books of Moses. Only the 5. No, we don't. Well, we do continue with the parasha, but also not on Sunday. A Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. On Shabbat, we do the parasha and the special reading for Hanukkah. But every day there's a special reading, and it's not from the Parashat HaShavua. What do you think?
I think the story is already the Mikdash in the Torah.
Close. Close, yeah.
I think the Varim and no review.
No. We don't just review anything. Is there Hanukkah in the Torah?
You are able to read. I think the Menachem.
But it has to come from the Torah. The first 5 books. Reading from the Torah.
Yes.
So you say Melachim, that's afterwards. Melachim is not in the Torah, right? It's not in the Sefer Torah. I'm looking about the Midbar. Laws of the Midbar. Why? But what? What about the temple? What about the temple?
The lights, maybe about.
The lights. On the last day, we do mention the menorah, the lighting of the menorah on the last day of Hanukkah. But what about the first 7 days? What do we read?
Shmot.
Nope.
Vayikra.
But tell me where do we find Hanukkah in the Torah? What does Hanukkah mean? We can't find the story of Hanukkah, of the Greeks and the Hasmoneans. That's not in the Torah. Where do we find Hanukkah? What does Hanukkah mean? Lachanoch. What does Hanukkah mean? Hanukkah. The word Hanukkah is used in the Torah. Let me show it to you. Give me a chumash, please. I'll show you what we read inside. Please, everybody open up. Here's one for you. This one for me. Hanukkah does appear in the Torah. It's a little bit tricky. It's on page 200 and 200 and
So Vayikra again? Vayikra.
nope.
No? 200 and?
Uh, 65. Page 265, that's chapter 7, Perek Zayin, Pasuk Pei Dalet. Pasuk 84. Wow, it's the longest chapter in the Chumash, I think. What book? What other book has? You see it?
Zot Hanukkah.
Zot Chanukat HaMizbeach.
Dedication of
84.
Yeah, verse 84. Chapter 7, verse 84. Page 265. 265. Page 265.
12 charge of silver.
10 lines from the bottom of the page. You see, Pasuk 84. This was the dedication of the altar. Hanukkah means dedication. Dedication. So, of course, what do we celebrate on Hanukkah? The dedication of the entire temple, the rededication, the purification of the temple because it was defiled by the Greeks. But in the Torah, what did the Jews dedicate?
Their lives, their soul.
No, right here. What did they dedicate? What does dedicate mean? It means inaugurate, to begin using.
But what we read the whole week?
I'll tell you exactly what we read all week. But this is the word Chanukat HaMizbeach. It means the beginning of using of the altar. Where did the Jews have an altar? Where did the Jews have an altar? Well, before that, in the desert. Where did they have an altar? Where was the altar? What was it called? The structure.
The golden calf?
No, the structure. Where was an altar? An altar is where's there's a mizbeach, right?
In the Beit Mikdash.
No, they didn't have a Beit Mikdash yet.
The tabernacle.
Mishkan. The mizbeach was in the Mishkan. The altar was in the tabernacle. In the desert. When the Jewish people came out of Egypt, they had a brand new temple, mini temple, portable temple. It's called the tabernacle, Mishkan. And they start to use it for the first time after they build it. And there's a whole ceremony for dedicating it. Zot Chanukat HaMizbeach. It's called Hanukkah. So of course we use the word Hanukkah for a different Hanukkah. Rededicating the Bet HaMikdash hundreds and hundreds of years later. The second temple, right? This is even before the first temple. This is the Mishkan in the desert. But the Torah tells us what to do when we dedicate the altar. And so we read. Now if you look at this page, you have it with me? You with me? This line, this was the dedication of the altar in the day that it was anointed by the princes of Israel. 12 chargers of silver, 12 silver boys, 12 spoons of gold, etc. Tells you what they brought. And, as a matter of fact, this is the end of a long, long piece, because look before that. Verse 78. On the 12th day, Achira, the son of Enan, prince of the children of Naphtali, offered. And his offering was 1 silver charger, 1 silver bowl, 1 golden spoon, 1 young bullock. Wait, but that was on the 12th day. What happens before that? Look at verse 72. Same page. Just go to the top of the page. Verse 72. Same page. Verse 72. Pasuk, same page. The same page. Just go up. The top of the page. Beyom Ashtei Asar, on the 11th day. You see that? Yeah. Ashtei Asar Yom, that's the 11th day. Pagiel, the son of Ephraim, prince of the children of Asher, offered. And his offering was blah, 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 blah. Go back to the previous page, 264 now, at the bottom of the page. You see on verse 66. The 10th day. Who was the prince of Dan? Achiezer, ben Amishadai. What about the 9th day? Michal, you with me?
Yes.
On page 264, verse 60. On the 9th day, Avidan, the son of Gidoni, the prince of the children of Binyamin. Wow. 8th day, go backwards. until find the first day. Where's the first day?
But they all have the same stuff, man.
Each offering is the same. It's amazing. Each tribe had their day. Take a look at page 261.
But you got 12 days.
You know what? Look at 260. The beginning of chapter 7. So Bamidbar, chapter 7, verse 1. It's on this book to page 260. ויהי ביום כלות משה להקים את המשכן. It came to pass on the day that Moshe had fully set up the tabernacle and had anointed it and sanctified it and all the instruments thereof, both of the altar and all the vessels, and anointed them, that the princes of Israel, heads of the house of their fathers, who were the princes of the tribes, and were over them that were numbered, and they offered. And then skip now to verse 10. Verse 10. Okay, I'm on page 261, verse 10. The princes offered, go ahead.
For the dedicating of the altar in the day that it was anointed, even the princes offered their offering before the altar.
So they all want to come, all the heads of the tribes. How many tribes were there?
12.
Can you do them all in one day? So what did Hashem say? Good, next verse. And the Lord said unto Moses,
They shall offer their offering, each prince on his day, for the dedicating of the altar. And he offered his offering.
and he that offered his offering the first day was Machon ben Aminadav of the tribe of Judah. And then it goes through each one. How many days were there? 12 days. Exactly. Each day we read one of the tribes offering. For Hanukkah, you see it on verse 10. ויקריבו הנשיאים את חנוכת המזבח, the dedicating of the altar. Hanukkah.
It's also in the song now too.
Exactly. When we spin the song, we speak about Chanukhat HaMizbeach, the dedication of the altar. It's true that the Maccabees purified the whole temple, which includes what's in the temple?
The altar.
The altar,
menorah.
the menorah. What else?
The vessels, the kelim.
What kelim are there? What other kelim are there?
The shulchan.
The shulchan. There was another small incense altar.
Yeah.
All of it was defiled. They had to purify it all. But why do we only light candles then? Why don't we light incense every day? Doesn't smell good. Why do we light candles? Because the candles had a special miracle. That there was only enough oil for one day and then for 8 days, right? So we commemorate the miracle of the oil. Also, we're going to learn that this time of year is all about light. We mentioned that it's the darkest time of the year, dark of winter. It's a festival of light in the dark. And maybe even it's the harvest time for the olives. The olives are all harvested, so we bring a special korban of olives, or we use the olives to celebrate. In any case, when we read from the Torah, this is the Hanukkah that we find. And it's true. The Maccabees, they rededicated the altar as well. The altar was defiled. They had to purify it. And so Chanukah HaMizbeach, it's in the song. Chanukah HaMizbeach, אז אגמור בשיר ומזמור חנוכת המזבח. So we throw in the dedication of the altar too, as part of the miracle. And that's the reading from the Torah, is from the original dedication of the Mishkan in the desert, the first time. Okay? Is that clear? Let's do the song. Yeah.
שמעת בחנוכה.
We do read from the Parsha, and we read here. The Maftir is from here. There's two Torahs. Two Torahs. And then, the last day, how many days of Hanukkah are there?
8 days.
What do we do with 12? So on the last day, if you look at back to where we started, Zot Chanukat HaMizbeach, page 265, verse 84, it's all chapter 7. On page 265, Zot Chanukat HaMizbeach, there is a special name for the last day of the holiday. It's called Zot Chanukah. Did you know that there's a special name for day number 8 of the 8 days of Hanukkah? It's called Zot Chanukah, based on this verse. This was the dedication, because we read all the way till the end. There, we also continue. Turn the page to page 266. So we read dedication of day 8, day 9, day 10, 11, 12, and then the summary, and then we go on to the next page. Page 266, we begin the next parsha. The parsha is called Behalotcha, and it's chapter 8. What does the first section of chapter 8 speak about? Read it for us, Michael.
Hashem spoke unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto Aaron, and say unto him, When thou lightest the lamps, the 7 lamps shall give you light over against the candlestick. And Aaron did so. He lighted the lamps thereof over against the candlestick, as the Lord commanded Moshe. And this was the work of the candlestick. It was of beaten gold unto the shaft thereof, unto the flowers thereof. It was beaten work according unto the pattern which Hashem has showed Moshe. So he made the candlestick.
That's it. We conclude with this little section, which is right after the story of the dedication of the Mizbeach. There's the dedication or the mitzvah of lighting the menorah in the Beit HaMikdash on the 8th day of Hanukkah. The 8th day of Hanukkah, a very long Torah reading. Right? Maybe if every day it's one short passage, we read it over and over again. Day 1, we read day 1 over and over again. What was the korban of day 1? On day 8, we read day 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, the summary, and the passage about the menorah. So there's actually 7 sections that we read on the last day of Hanukkah. What's the name of the last day of Hanukkah? Zot Chanukah, based on the pasuk 84 that we just showed you. Okay? A little bit about the Torah reading, but that's from the Chumash. Is there... Now, once we have the Tanakh open, don't close it. Open up to Zechariah. Don't open it up. Zechariah. Find Zechariah. Where are you going to find Zechariah? You have the order. It's number 13, right? Where's Zechariah? You have it on your list. Where are you going to find Zechariah?
11:09.
Ooh, that was quick. How did you do that? You just got lucky? You went by the order. Very good. You're quick. All right. 11:09. Hosea, Yoel, Amos, Obadiah, Yonah, Micha, Nahum, Habakkuk, Tzfanya, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. That's almost the last one. Page 1107 it starts. Zechariah. Oh, he has all sorts of amazing prophecies. But if you look in chapter 4, it's page 1110. How do you say 0 in Chinese?
Lin.
Lin? So, lin.
Lin.
Lin. 1110. You got it? Yes. Chapter 4 of Zechariah. Read it for us, Pinchas and the angel.
No. And the angel that talked with me came again and awakened me as a man that is awakening out of his sleep, and said on me,
What seest thou?
What
it's
seest
old
thou?
English. What do you see?
And I said, I have looked and I built a candlestick all of gold.
Candlestick, all of gold. Yeah, menorah. Menorah is the Hebrew word, yeah.
with his bow upon the top of it, and his 7 lamps
Thereon.
and the 7 pipes to the 7 lamps, which were upon the top thereof, and the 2 olive trees by it, one upon the right side of the bow, and the other upon the left side thereof.
Wow, it's a fascinating image. So you've got 2 olive trees giving oil to a bowl, and the bowl has 7 pipes going out to each one of the 7 lamps of the menorah. Wow, what could that mean? So the angel in the prophecy, in the dream, he says, so I answered and spoke. I'm continuing at the top of the next page. So I answered and spoke to the angel that talked with me, saying, "What are these, my Lord?" And then the angel that talked with me answered and said unto me, "Knowest not what these be?" I said, "No." He was surprised. I don't understand. Then he answered and he spoke unto me, saying, "This is the word of Lord unto Zerubbabel, saying, not by might." Zerubbabel was the leader when they came from Babylon, from the exile. And what is the word of Lord saying? Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Lo bechayil velo bechoach, ki im beruchi, with my spirit. And he goes on to say that there's Zerubbabel will be very powerful and conquering, being able to come into the land and build the house of the Lord. And then go to verse 11. Verse 11, he says, "What are these 2 olive trees upon the right side of the candlesticks and upon the left side thereof?" Zechariah doesn't seem to be too bright here. He doesn't get the image. He doesn't understand. And I answered again and said unto him, "What be those 2 olive branches, which through 2 golden pipes empty the golden oil out of themselves?" And he answered me and says, "Knowest not what these be?" And I said, "No, Lord." The angel's still expecting Zechariah to understand it on his own, but he doesn't. So he gets an explanation. He said, "These are the 2 anointed ones that stand by the Lord of the whole earth." The 2 anointed ones, they're mentioned before: Yehoshua, the Kohen Gadol, and Zerubbabel, the political leader who brought the Jewish people out of exile to build the Beit Mikdash. So this is chapter 4 of Zechariah, Neirot, the candles of Zechariah. And we read that is the Haftarah and Hanukkah. So we find every reference we can, the most significant reference, Boker Tov. שבוע טוב. אני לא רואה מאף אחד, כן. So we read about the menorah of Zechariah and about the altar of Moshe, altar in the tabernacle. That's the Torah reading on Hanukkah. We don't have any other book in the Tanakh. The closest we have is the Parashat Naso and the book Perek Daled of Zechariah. Ready for the song one more time? Ready? Bereshit Shmot Vayikra Bamidbar Vayikra Bamidbar Tevarim Yehoshua Shoftim Shemuel Melachim Yeshayahu Yirmiyahu Yechezkel Hosea Yoel Amos Ovadia Yonah Micha Nahum Chavakuk Tzfanya Chagai Zechariah Malachi Tehillim Mishlei Yom שיר השירים, רות איכה קהלת. אסתר, דניאל, עזרא, נחמיה, דברי הימים. יפה. Good, you got it? Okay. I'll photocopy this. It has the order, the names in English about who wrote, according to tradition, who wrote each book, and the three sections. We'll cover this when I'm not so lazy and I go to make the photocopies. But this I had. So all right. Let's open our Peninei Alacha. We'll take a look and see what we're up to.
Last chapter.
The last chapter about Hanukkah, yes.
Details.
Menachem, this is Chaim Grabois.
Good morning, Chaim. Welcome.
Have a seat. Sherman usually doesn't bother me.
Be nice, Michael. Be nice. Okay. Chaim, this is Michael. Here, I'll take a look. I have another page for you before we open up the book. You give him a book, guys. Why don't you give him a book? Be nice to him.
This book.
That's it. For that, I'm going to give you. For this, I want to give you this. Take a look. Give this out. One each.
266.
Yeah.
Page 266.
This is what we just covered in Hebrew in our song. You can see the division, the order of the books in the Bible. Okay, let's switch. Order of the books in the Bible. The first division is called Torah, right?
Yes.
And Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. How many chapters? Sum total?
5. No.
No. How many chapters?
15, 19.
187.
187. How many letters?
30,000.
No.
300,000.
304,000. That's wrong. You know why? Because the sages say that there are 600,000 letters in the Torah. Because there's 600,000 Jews, and every Jew is like a letter in the Torah. And if you have one letter missing from the Torah, it's not kosher. We need all the Jews. But there's only 304. So if you count maybe in between the letters, the white space, then you have double. But it's a tradition. It's an idea. Every Jew has his letter in the Torah, has his portion in the Torah. Okay, what's the next section called? The former prophets. We call them Nevi'im Rishonim, the earlier prophets, the former prophets. The division we said is maybe they're more narrative. So you can see here, the sum total of number, how many books do we have?
6 books.
No, the sum total of the whole Tanakh is 24, like we said.
Yeah.
But you see that there's 2 books of Chronicles, there's Ezra and Nehemiah, which are counted as one. Number 13 is 12 books, they're all counted as one. And of course, 2 books of Samuel and 2 books of Kings, okay? So the Nevi'im Rishonim, it's another 263,000 letters. A lot of letters. The latter prophets, how many chapters?
147.
Chapters? No, that's in the former prophets. Yeah, in the latter prophets, Nevi'im Acharonim, 233. How many words? 273. There, each one is about 300,000 letters. Close. And finally, the last section is called the writings. Tehillim, Mishlei, Yov. How many chapters in Tehillim? 150. See that? But you see that the number 13, look at number 13. How many chapters in Hosea?
14.
And in Zechariah?
12. No, also 14.
14. But all the others are very small. 1, 2, 3 chapters. You see that?
Yes.
That's why they're called the small prophets. The small prophets. because they are very short compared to all the others. Books are always they're all larger. Megillot, how big are the Megillot? Number 18, 19, 20, 21,
5 books.
17. How many? There's 5 Megillot, and how many is each chapter? Each one is 10 chapters, 5 chapters, 4 chapters, 8 chapters. You see that?
Yes.
All right. Finally, the whole section of the writings is also about 300,000. So, sum total, 300,000 times 1, 2, 3, 4 sections, approximately 1,159,000 letters in the Torah. How many chapters in the entire Tanakh? How many chapters?
929.
929. Did I tell you that you can go online, type in 929, and you'll get to a wonderful website where they have a program to read 1 chapter every day. You finish, how long does it take you?
1 year.
No.
2 years.
How many days are there in a year?
165.
365. So how long does it take you to finish 929 chapters?
2.5 years.
Yeah, 3 years. Almost 3 years. 365 times 3 is how much? It's over 1,000. So just under 3 years.
So 3 years to read the whole Tanakh?
Yeah, 1 chapter a day. That's all you need to do.
That I did in 1.5 years.
Good. You do 2 chapters a day?
You can. Because some chapters are small, you know.
Of course.
Some stories are very, you want to finish it.
Right. Although the book of Job is a little harder.
What the Chronicles is the last book?
Chronicles? Why it's last?
Uh,
It's sort of like a summary, I think. It sort of summarizes, it's a list of many, it goes through the history from the beginning to the end.
because in the time,
It's the time of the kings, primarily. The time of the kings. Yeah, I hear you. It should be near the book of Kings, right? But it's a repetition. Many of the things are repeated. But it starts earlier and continues after, till the end of this, the First Temple period. So it's written sort of like as a short review until you get to the period of the kings, and then it gets many more stories. But it's like a review, so it's of a different kind. It's an interesting type of literature, right? We said there's wisdom literature. So Divrei Yamim is sort of like accounting, Jewish accounting. It has a list: Adam, Shet, Enosh.
Divrei Yamim.
Divrei Yamim. We're talking about Chronicles 1 and Chronicles 2. Exactly. It's called in Hebrew Divrei Yamim. But here, this is only English. So.
The question is, why is the book of Daniel is not considered in one of the later prophets?
Good question.
Because a lot of prophecies and it's also
Good question. Why is Daniel and Ezra and Nehemiah also? Why are they separated off at the end of Ketuvim? I'll tell you. One reason, I think, is because of the language. What's the language?
Amen.
Right? Daniel and Ezra and Nehemiah, mostly in Aramaic. Whereas everything else is all Hebrew. Mostly. The first 3 chapters of Ezra are in Hebrew, and then it switches to Aramaic. Daniel is mostly Aramaic. All Aramaic.
That's what they were speaking about.
That's right. So maybe that's why it's called writings, and it's not part of the Nevi'im, but it's a good question. It's really, they're prophecies. We treat them with holiness like all the others.
But how is it approached in Judaism? It's approached like, these are prophecies because we talk about major events like the four.
Right. No, if it makes it into the Tanakh, they're considered to be holy prophecies, holy works, holy writings, and so we treat them with holiness. Yes. Good questions. Good to see that charts, right? Yes. You like that? Okay. Yes. I'll get you another chart tomorrow, and we'll do the song one more time. Yeah. So we do the song here. Let's show off. to Chaim. Chaim, we know all of the books of the Tanakh off by heart. Eitan is going to do it, closing his eyes. You ready? We're going to help him.
No.
Come on. Okay, so Stephen will do it off by heart. We're going to sing it together.
Okay, I can try.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
Bereshit Shmot Vayikra Bamidbar Vayikra Bamidbar Devarim Yehoshua Shoftim Shemuel Melachim Yeshayahu Yirmiyahu Yechezkel Hosea Yoel Amos Ovadia Yona Micha Nahum Chavakuk Tzfanya Hagai Zecharia Malachi Tehillim Mishleiyot Shira Shirim Ruth Eicha Kohelet Esther Daniel Ezra Nehemiah Divrei Hayamim Ta la 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 So that was good, okay? You got that? All right, so let's open up the book. Here, Pinchas, you asked me the other day, the Davidic dynasty. This is the Davidic dynasty. Tov, let's open up the book. What page? Chapter 13?
266.
266.
Chapter 2. No, chapter 13.
I think it's 3, right? Apartment building. I think
We're up to apartment buildings, correct.
Oh,
We're up to section 3, 269. Ah,
The-
that's not what you looked for?
No, but I wanted today. There is
No, we don't know. We don't know. That's where it ends. That's all we know from the Tanakh. After that, we have a tradition that the Tanaim, the Nisiim, were from Davidic line, but we don't know. Okay, apartment buildings. Ready? Page 269. Stephen, will you read for us?
6-9.
269,
buildings.
Yeah.
Nowadays, many people live in apartment buildings. The best place for them to light is in the window facing the street or on a porch facing the street, as this is the most effective way of publicizing the miracle. Those who light in the window must make sure that both household members and passerby can see the candles. Therefore, one should not use a menorah that has a back that blocks the view of the candles from either side. Even when the window facing the street is higher than 10 tefachim, which is 30 inches, one should still light there, because it is more important to publicize the miracle to passerby than to be meticulous about lighting the candle lower than 10 tefachim. Some maintain that it is better to light in the hallway right outside the apartment door, so that one who entered the home will be surrounded by mitzvot, the mezuzah on the right and the Hanukkah candle on the left. Although one who chooses to light this way certainly fulfills his obligation, it is nevertheless better to light in the window facing the street to publicize the miracle. Even if the apartment is on the upper floor and the window is higher than the 20 amot, as long as passerby can see the candle through the window, it will be seen that it is preferable to light there in order to publicize the miracle. However, if one wishes, he may light in the hallway right outside the apartment door, as this publicized the miracle somewhat as well. Even if he light the candles inside his home, he has fulfilled his obligation.
Okay, some people say that nowadays we're so used to having apartment buildings which are tall. The sages said you're not allowed to light higher than 20 amot, which is 10 meters.
30 tefachim, כן?
No, first of all, it's ideally between 3 tfachim and 10 tfachim, right? 24 centimeters and 80 centimeters. That's ideal. On a chair, on a table, that's the highest. If you do it higher, it's kosher up until 10 meters. But beyond that, nobody's going to see it. And nowadays we have apartment buildings. So if you're on the 3rd floor, you're above 10 meters. How can you light the candles in the window? Some people say, well, now people do look up. In the old days, they didn't look up because there was nothing there. But now there's buildings. People look at the windows all the way up. Other people say, well, usually there's more than one apartment building. So the other apartment building can see your window. So they look at you. So you're publicizing the miracle that way. But other people say, no, it's so far. I'm on the 100th floor. Nobody can see my candles. So what do? You light in the doorway. People in the hallway. People are coming up the stairway. 100th floor. People coming out of the elevator. They'll see your candles. What if you're the only person on the floor? Well, you can still light it in the doorway.
In the elevator.
No. The doorway to your house. It has to be your private home. So doorway to so that the candles should be connected to you. So you could do it in the doorway, but it's nobody going to see it except for you. You could also just do it on your table, on your dining room table, on your kitchen table, wherever you want. There's no way to show it out. I think we mentioned the other day, there were some periods in Jewish history that it was dangerous to light Hanukkah candles. And so people got used to lighting Hanukkah candles indoors. Not even in the window, just on the table. Who are you publicizing the miracle for? Yourself, your family members. Yeah.
So maybe it's a strange question, but like in this time of social media, people like to post their...
Yes, good question.
People post their Hanukkah,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's also fulfillment of the mitzvah.
I think it's a nice thing to publicize the miracle, but I don't think you fulfill your obligation that way. But you can fulfill the obligation if push comes to shove. There is a debate. We're going to see. What if you live by yourself? No family.
Are you still fulfilling the obligation by lighting the candle?
Right, so that's the question. The Meir and mitzvah is to publicize. But there's nobody else to see it. If you're on a desert island, all by yourself, you're stranded.
But you are the Jews. You see it.
And if there's nobody else. So if there's other Jews, great. If there's no other Jews, what do you do? So we're going to see. It's a debate. But bottom line is, you're publicizing it for yourself as well. So you can still make a bracha, I think. Okay, let's continue. So far, so good? Okay, you got it? Apartments, you know where to light? What about in a private home? Right, we said it's complicated. The laws are quite complicated. We're keeping it simple. Let's say you live and here's your house, okay? Is that good? Right, here's the door, and here's a little window. Am I good drawing? I draw nicely, right? Okay, so there's two options of where you can light the candles. Ideally, you light over here. Right? Because it's the left of the doorway, right? Or inside the doorway. I'll make the doorway a little bigger so it can fit. Okay? How's that picture? Good? Yes. You have the mezuzah on the right and the menorah on the left. Inside the doorway. What if it's inconvenient or you don't have a glass box and it's going to blow out if you put it outside or in the doorway? So you light it inside, but you light it in the window. In the window, we can see, everybody can see the Hanukkah, okay? Let's say you live not directly on the street, but you live in a courtyard, and you have a doorway to the courtyard over here. Should you light over here? Over here, because people are passing by over here.
Outside.
I have this.
You have a courtyard around, yeah.
But the yard is higher than the street level, and I think people can see.
So it says in the Talmud that you should light over here, right? On the entrance to the courtyard. But many rabbis today feel their courtyard was not like the way we use our courtyard today. What do you do in the courtyard? Maybe you have some vegetables. Maybe you have some flowers. Maybe you have a bike that you leave there, right? Maybe you hang the laundry, but mostly we live inside the houses. In those days, the houses were so small that they had the kitchen outdoors, they played outdoors, they sat outdoors. The courtyard was really like a house. And that's why they said you should light on the edge of the courtyard. But nowadays, we don't use the courtyard as a house. It's just, for a garden. So many rabbis say, don't light over here, you should light in the doorway. And whoever sees you. They can still look, unless there's a big wall. So sometimes there's a big fence. Then nobody can see. But if there's just usually a low wall, people can see inside each other's courtyards, gardens, yards. So you should light over here. There's a debate. They're both kosher. So the same thing, let's say you live in an apartment building, which is very tall. Okay? So we said you have a window here, maybe light over here, but maybe not. Okay, but inside, to go into the building, everybody goes in the same entranceway, and then they go up the stairs. There's stairs. So where should you light? Maybe if you want to light at the door, there's a door on maybe there's a few doors on every floor, right? There's a few apartments. So let's say this guy. Where should he light? Some people say he should light in the doorway over here. Some people say he should light in the doorway over here. Because that's what people are going to see when they walk by. And it's like a courtyard. All these stairwells is like, people use it to walk. Is walking like using the courtyard? It's a debate. People debate it so much. How many people walk up the stairs? If you're on this floor, maybe 2 other people are going to see it. Because who goes up to the higher floors if you live on a lower floor? Nobody. So you see it. Your family sees it. So the other option is, of course, do it in the window over here. And then people can see from but it's very high. So, maybe there's another building. As I said, they can look at it from the other building. So there's a debate, and bottom line is they're all kosher. All different methods are some following some rabbis. Yeah.
Like if you live in an apartment, like in a tower.
Yes.
Can you do like you have like one Hanukkah with the whole tower, and you light like downstairs in the door opening, you light with the whole apartment. You light there your Hanukkah.
That's a good idea. The problem is.
Because
the mitzvah is every household. And then we said the ideal is to every person of the household.
And if every person doing the opening.
So what are you going to do over here?
Yes.
1 menorah or 30 menorahs?
30.
So you go walking on Hanukkah, a few blocks down, there's a yeshiva. And there, at the entrance to the apartment building, 30 Chanukiot.
Really?
Yeah, they do that. All the yeshiva boys come to the entrance to the building, and they light their Chanukiot over there. That's what their rabbi tells them. You see 30 different Hanukkah. And you have to make them separate so you can count how many nights it is and so forth from the number of candles. But other people say, no, everybody should light in the doorway. Other people say, no, light in the window so that people can see it better. Some people say, just do it in your kitchen table. Put it inside and you publicize for your family.
But if you live higher than 20 meters,
Either.
you can do it.
It's a debate. Some people say yes. Because you live higher than 20 meters. So for you, that's only 10 tfachim. For you, it's not 20 meters. It's 20 meters from the ground. But for you, that's ground level. Plus 3 tfachim, plus 10 tfachim, whatever it is. So how do you calculate? Based on the people on the street or where you live? If you live there, that's not considered too high. Because you see it. Maybe the people in the apartment building next door also see it. So there is a lot of debate about this mitzvah, where to do it. Bottom line is they're all kosher. You'll be following one rabbi if you do it this way, and one rabbi if you do it that way. And I think it depends on what you think is best for you, for your family, for your situation, where you're going to see the candles, appreciate the mitzvah, and connect. It's up to you to decide. Okay? Yeah.
But we must look at the light for 30 half an hour.
No. You don't have to look at the lights for half an hour. How long do you have to look at the lights for?
Usually last 4 hours.
4 hours.
More than 4 hours.
How long do you have to look at the lights for?
Depends how fast you say the bracha.
Very good. You look at them when you're lighting. You don't have to look afterwards. They have to be lit. They have to stay lit. But you don't stay there and looking at them. There's no mitzvah to look at them. You have mitzvah to light them. When you light them, you see them. And you make a bracha. But many people like to stay and peer at the lights and think all sorts of holy thoughts. But you don't have to.
But we cannot benefit from the light as well, right?
Correct.
We cannot bring our books and read.
Not by their lights, no.
Yeah.
Have your own flashlight if you want. Put on another light, put on an electric light. But don't read by the light of the candles. That's not allowed. They're not for use. That's what we say every day after lighting. We say Hanerot halalu kodeshim. Ein lanu reshut lishtamesh b'hem. We don't have permission to use them. Ela lirotam bilvad, just to see them, in order to praise Hashem for the miracles that He did for us. All right. Let's see now. So we talked about where. This is a big debate. So many options. What about when? When do you light the candles? So we said 8 days. 8 days, of course. 8 days of Hanukkah. But when during the day? Or the night?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. You say simple. Okay. 5 o'clock. Put on an alarm. 5 o'clock.
Before midnight.
Before midnight. That's interesting. That's much later.
Before sunset.
The sunset, you say, sorry?
Before sunset.
As soon as possible. Sunset. Okay, so let's see. The Talmud says, if you look on page 271, section 4. Okay, Eitan, will you read it for us? The sages ordained.
The sages are ordained that one must light the Hanukkah candles when the miracle will be publicized. Most effectively in the past when there were no street lights and nightfall, the streets were filled with people returning home from their daily activities. Therefore, the sages declared that the proper time to light the candles is from sunset until the marketplace empties out.
Okay, stop there for a second. So what does the Talmud say? From sunset until when the marketplace empties out.
It's only 50 minutes.
How long is that? From sunset till the market. Without electricity, the marketplace emptied out very quickly.
Yes.
Standard approach is half an hour. Okay. So you have a small window between sunset and a half an hour later. Half an hour later, it's already too late. There's nobody in the streets. By midnight, Chaim? Who's in the streets midnight? Today, Jerusalem is kind of a sleepy town at midnight. Depends where. Different parts. Maybe Tel Aviv or Bnei Brak. Whew. Midnight is like middle of the day. There's tons of people on the street. But Jerusalem gets kind of quiet by midnight, right? Am I right? Not too many people on the streets anymore. People go to sleep. A few, but it's not so. So you can't light Hanukkah candles at midnight. You've got a half an hour. Unless you say that everything changed because of electricity. There are people on the street. What time is now sunset?
Sunset is
5.
5.
5:40. No, 4:40. 4:40 is sunset.
4:40 is.
Oh.
Right? We lit candles 20 minutes before that at 4:20. In Jerusalem, 40 minutes before that at 4 o'clock was candle lighting, right?
4 o'clock? Yes.
Candle lighting.
Yes.
40 minutes before sunset. So sunset's 4:40, approximately. So you have a half an hour until what time is that then? 4:40 plus half an hour.
4:45.
You think? I don't think
It's
so.
5:10.
5:10. 4:40 to 5:10.
That is
Half an hour.
Evening. Arvit.
By 5:10, that's it. You can't light candles anymore. Because no, that's what it says. From the sunset until, if it takes half an hour for the marketplace to empty out, do you tell me, is even Jerusalem, are the streets empty at 10 after 5?
No.
No.
Streets get filled.
Yes.
6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, people are going to have dinner, coming home from work. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. All right, midnight, maybe not. But what about 6, 7, 8 o'clock? It's much more than half an hour after sunset. So let's see, this is the statement of the Talmud. From sunset until the marketplace. Now we have two problems. One is the start time. What exactly does sunset mean? I took it at face value. Sunset means 4:40, when the sun goes beneath the horizon. But there's other interpretations. And when's the end time? The end time, we said, depends when the marketplace empties out. Maybe it's not just a half an hour.
Now we have more time.
Maybe we have more time. Maybe we have 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours until people actually leave the marketplace. Okay, when does the shuk close? Who shops in Machane Yehuda?
There's one
The
shop.
shuk, the marketplace.
There's one shop. They sell hot dogs. They're open till 3 o'clock.
Really,
But
really.
it's the only one that you feel you're hungry.
And what the most? When the most close? The shops.
The normal shops.
The normal
I
shops.
don't know to be honest.
The normal shops are around
8
6,
o'clock.
5, 6.
7, 6:30.
Food places maybe till 11 o'clock at night.
But shops like clothing.
Yeah, clothing like
7.
7 maybe. Yeah. So
It
what's
depends.
the end time and what's the beginning time? So let's talk about one at a time. First, when do you start? What is sunset? The Rishonim. Well, who's the Rishonim?
The Rishonim are the first ones. 6.
The first ones, right? From year 1000 to year 1500.
They are the codifiers.
That's right, the codifiers. Good. They disagree whether sunset here refers to the beginning of sunset. Go ahead, Eitan. Meaning.
Meaning when the sun disappears from view to the end of sunset. Meaning when the sunlight disappears from view as well and the stars become visible. On hand, at the beginning of sunset, the streets are more crowded. And the other hand, since there is still a relatively large amount of sunlight at the time, the candles are less visible. Therefore, it is better to wait until Tzeit HaKoch Havim, the to light indeed. The widespread practice in Israel is to light at Tzeit, which is about 20 minutes after Skia.
Okay, now you can see a long footnote here. This is a long discussion about how exactly to define day and night. What's sunset, and there's a whole discussion exactly. Have you heard of the time of Rabbeinu Tam?
Yes.
He had a unique interpretation of how the sunset works. Here, I'll give you these now, but you have to give them back to me because I'm using them in the other class. Take a look at this at these pictures. Give them out. Now, you know, in the Talmudic times, they didn't all know. They didn't all know. Look at the page that looks like this. The big arch. We say in our prayers that God makes windows in the sky and brings out the moon. In the Shabbat morning prayers, we say that God makes windows in the sky. They actually didn't know that the world, some of them didn't know that the world was round. And that the sun goes all the way around the earth. Well, really, the earth goes around the sun. But for us, it looks like it. And you know what they thought? They thought there's actually windows. So look on the far right-hand side. In the morning, the sun enters through a window. And then, you see the feet? The man walks his whole day long. The sun, he sees the sun on top of the horizon, on top of the sky. Until the end of the day, the sun goes into another window in the west, from east to west. And then, during the nighttime, the sun travels back to the east. You can't see it. And then enters the window again into the horizon. So you can see that there's, now, what is this time period of sunrise and sunset? There's a little bit of thickness to the gray window. It takes time for the sun to enter and exit the horizon, the sky. And that's the time, that's the debate. If you turn the page over, and you can see an enlarged picture of how long, or take a look at the top left-hand side. There's the beginning of Shkia and the end of Shkia, the beginning of sunset and the end of sunset. And there's a debate when the Talmud says you should light the candles at sunset. Do they mean, you see where I'm showing you over here? They're showing you the beginning of sunset, when the sun disappears, but there's still light for quite a while. Or at the end of sunset, when the sun is totally gone from that thickness of the sky, and now you can see the stars. So, Rabbeinu Tam says, Tzeit HaKochavim, is coming out of the stars, is much, much later. It's 72 minutes later, after, because you can, if you turn the page back over again, it shows you that it's 72 minutes to traverse that Shkia, the sunset, from the beginning of the sunset to the end of the sunset. And that's why most of us finish Shabbat 35 minutes after the sunset. When was Shabbat out this 5:15. Why? Because sunset was 4:40. 35 minutes later is the stars come out. It's dark enough. All you have to wait is 35 minutes after sunset. That's enough. According to Rabbeinu Tam, you have to wait 72 minutes.
Wow.
More than double.
After
sunset.
So Shabbat.
From 4:40, it doesn't finish until 5:52, 72 minutes later. Yeah, not so bad in the winter, but in the summertime it can be hard. So this is because he says we follow not the beginning of there's a beginning of the sunset and an end of the sunset. Sunset actually is a twilight time, a longer time. Beginning. So when should we light candles? At the beginning of sunset. It's still very light out. 20 minutes later, 35 minutes later, 72 minutes later. There are many different opinions. The most common custom, he says, is to light. It's about 20 minutes after sunset, and that's the most common practice. I try to do it at sunset, and I'm usually a few minutes late, so it works out perfect. Okay. we'll continue B'ezrat Hashem the discussion of the timing and get you precise time B'ezrat Hashem tomorrow. Okay, I'll stop here. Bring me back the pages because I'm going to use them in the next class. I'm teaching about this details. I have 10 pages of sources about these pictures, about this debate. Okay? Who's going to know the 24 books of the Bible off by heart? Tomorrow morning is going to get a prize.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
But really?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I want to see you don't know it. 24 books. You know the tune. Okay, B'vakasha.